Hello. So, what's crazy, and by that, maybe not even so crazy, is just an observation I just had that every time I get closer to someone on an intimate base, um, which is just maybe covering the physical part, thinking, um, or trying to fill the void of closeness to somebody, like fighting the feeling of missing this spectacular feeling of being close to someone. Every time I do that, and this is similar to the video I took a couple of weeks ago, or made a couple of weeks ago, um, I feel more lonely afterwards. Surprise! Yet it comes as a surprise. I don't know why. It's just, I sort of got to the thought of because I keep realizing, and that fits to the video I made yesterday with the wanting to smoke weed and stuff, the 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 need and the urge for dopamine, which has become more than it was. And I just keep thinking about how this is actually coming together, and this might have the cause of me using Instagram again in order to promote this, but still having the app on my phone, and just like recently, or like quite frequently actually, looking at the app again, activating this dopamine system again, and then wanting more, wanting weed, wanting sex, wanting feedback even. And I think I'm not saying that Instagram or all this stuff is sort of the cause for this stuff, but it's definitely pushing it. So I should really try to, or I need to find a way of promoting my stuff on Instagram, or maybe just even leave it completely, just uploaded it for anyone to see. But the main thought that came, or how this all came to my mind right now, was because I was getting more and more emotional and thinking about my relationship that I just had, and how, like, or meeting myself at, or by not meeting, but catching myself feeling those feelings of missing that person. And also, to be very honest, realizing it's, of course, that very specific woman that I'm missing, because of all the beautiful traits that she specifically brought to my life. Yet it's also the overall missing of having someone close, to have that special someone in my life that I could just phone up and be like, "Hey girl, how you doing? Can we just have a chat? I felt lonely," whatever. Or hugging someone the way you hug someone when you have hugged them for a year or two already, and you just know the hug, you know the feeling, you know what your hands are doing, you know how it's gonna be like. And I do understand that some people say, yeah, but that's exactly the issue. But right now, and again, this is probably missing what you don't have in the moment, but this familiarity, this yeah, the actual closeness, not what you can get when you met someone, or when you've met someone for like 2 or 3 weeks even. Like, you're not close then, you don't know each other, but this really knowing another and appreciating another is what's creating that void in me. I realize that. Of course, I can't be too like, of course, I'm missing out all the stuff that actually led to us being not together anymore. This is not, I'm not saying I need to get back to that state where obviously things went too wrong to continue, but all these other parts that made us stay together, made us try to walk this way together, even though it felt bad at times, or it hurt, or it was exhausting, or whatever. But the other stuff that kept us together, like the adhesive in between us, that's that has a long time coming, apparently. And I am really surprised by how much I could talk about it, honestly. It's not only like talking to the camera, but it's of course more, and all the thoughts that I'm having. And still, after like a couple of months, I'm not too sad, like I'm not crying and sobbing about it, but yet there's no day that her name or some memories don't pop up in my mind where I start thinking about things, basically, which is crazy. But at the same time, I'm super grateful for that. I'm really grateful for all the feelings and thoughts that I can have about this person that got so close to me, that her memory and the memories we created together are so deeply, um, yeah, deeply planted in me, that it has this quite long haul afterwards. Um, yes, but coming back to the point of creating that, or try to cover that dopamine stuff by short term, by quick aids. That's the word, you know. Quick aids won't heal. They just cover for a second, and once you tear off the band-aid, it's gonna be open again. So I just try to remind myself of that next time I'm approaching someone, or also try to, or when I keep using all these apps that make it so easy to step into this um, quick fix approach, at least. But yeah, it's always good, and I'm super grateful again to be able to realize all of this and be able to talk about it and not be too scared to even publish it. So that helps me a lot. And yeah, I'll just have to see how I'll go from there. Nothing lasts forever, so this is also gonna pass. But until then, I'm trying to make the most out of it. So yes, let's see. Hello, hello, hello. So, as some of you might tell, I am back at my mom's place, uh, fleeing from Cologne because I rented out the flat. And I just realized a couple of things this morning. I don't know, I don't even know where to start, to be honest. Uh, Maybe, first of all, one could think I didn't think that through. Um, what I realized this morning is that something quite obvious, and I talked about it yesterday already, is this dopamine thing. And in general, like all the quick fixes that, or the, you know, the urges where I am or we are going for at times, because it seems way easier to just give in and I don't know, smoke the joint, have the sweets, have the sex, rather than dealing with, why do I need the dopamine right now? Do I really need, or why am I lacking the sense of closeness and feedback? Why would I need this sugar rush right now instead of just, I don't know, eating something healthy? And I just realized that the energy I would need to get back from these attacks, so to speak, would be way higher than the energy I thought I didn't have, in terms of ignoring that need and that urge to follow it, if that makes sense. And it seems so logical, I reckon, and so obvious in a way. But it just, sometimes there's a huge difference between the cognitive recognition and the actual understanding of things. The one is the knowing, the other is the understanding, so to speak. And I sort of had this understanding yet now, because thinking about, and now I need to be very careful about how I want to bring that on, but like thinking about how easy it was to, I don't know, meet the girl and have that physical interaction that we both thought was necessary that day. And now going through all of this, well, how am I feeling afterwards? Oh, I'm feeling worse in terms of how my need for closeness and love actually developed through this. So I'm actually feeling worse. So now I need to go through that feeling of why is that so, and eventually even get into the communication with her and tell her about how I'm feeling, why this has nothing to do with her, or whether it was a good interaction or not, and all of these things. This takes way more effort and way more commitment and way more energy after all, rather than just sitting with myself that night and just being with myself. So this is for that, but of course it's also fine to go the other way, because I recently read something that actually seems so valid for these kind of situations, is that after all these things are for me, like if it's that straight way, me recognizing, okay, I don't need this right now. I'm just gonna sit through it, like I did with the joint the other night. Be like, okay, I'm just not gonna do it, even though I have the urge, but it's not good for me, and I'm gonna save the energy of climbing out of that hole afterwards, and just use it for now to, I don't know, go to bed and save it. Um, or going that detour, having that learning, having to learn that learning again, and going through the understanding again. After all, this is all for me, all for us if we do it. Because if you're not like closing your eyes for your feelings and all of that stuff, you'll get to the point eventually. The thing is, what I was thinking about this morning is, how many loops do I go before I learn, before I realize, before I actually recognize what is the most efficient way maybe to learning. And yet this is only the most efficient way for myself. There's no such thing as the best or the way to do anything, right? It's just the Louis way, always. So it's the Louis way of how many joints do I want to smoke, and how many physical interactions will I have until I learn to sit with myself and actually work through all that emotional stuff that is still there to work through and finish up before I can actually be ready for the next meaningful connection to a woman, for example. And it's super interesting, and I really like it. But also it's kind of weird, but it totally helps to see that there's no wrong and right in this plane. I feel I should mention that after all, because as I said, this is not about judging myself. It's more about zooming out in each and every, or in as many situations as possible, right? And yeah, that's at least the one topic.